My name is Lillian Hartwell. I am 78 years old. People in my town used to call me the woman with the warm smile. I baked pies for church events. I sang softly in the choir even when my voice trembled. I believed in prayer more than medicine. I believed in kindness more than power. And I believed in my pastor more than anyone else. But one Friday night, when I was only 23 years old, my faith led me into a room that changed my life forever. I still remember that night as if it happened yesterday. The air was cold. The church parking lot was empty. The lights inside the building glowed like lonely stars. My hands were shaking as I held my Bible close to my chest. I told myself it was normal. I told myself God was testing my faith. I did not know I was walking into a secret meant only for me. Before I tell you what happened that night, let me take you back to who I was before everything broke. At 23, I was a shy girl from a small American town called Willow Creek. My father worked at a grain mill. My mother cleaned houses for wealthy families who barely looked at her. We did not have much money, but we had faith. Every Sunday we sat in the front row of the church. We believed God listened more closely from there. When our old pastor retired, a new pastor came. His name was Pastor Adrian Cole. He was not like the other pastors in town. He was young, gentle. His voice was smooth like warm honey. When he preached, people leaned forward without knowing why. When he prayed, even the proud men lowered their heads. To me, he felt like safety. I was lonely back then. My friends were getting married. Some were moving to big cities. I worked in a small grocery store and dreamed of something bigger, but I did not know what. Church became my home. Pastor Cole noticed me. First, it felt harmless. He asked how my day was. He told me my singing voice was beautiful. He said God had a special purpose for my life. No one had ever said that to me before. When my father got sick, Pastor Cole prayed for him every week. When my mother cried in silence, Pastor Cole placed a hand on her shoulder and promised hope. I trusted him with my whole heart. One Thursday evening after Bible study, he stopped me near the door. "Lillian," he said softly, "God put something on my heart today." I looked at him with wide eyes. "What is it, Pastor?" He hesitated, as if choosing his words carefully. "Tomorrow night we are having a special vigil, private vigil, for deep prayer, for someone God has chosen." I felt honored and afraid at the same time. "Who is the chosen one?" he asked. He smiled gently. "You will understand when you come." I nodded without thinking. If God had chosen me, how could I refuse? That night I could not sleep. I imagined angels. I imagined God speaking to me. I imagined my life changing in a beautiful way. I had no idea how wrong I was. Now, before I continue, let me speak to you for a moment. If you love emotional stories like this, stories that touch the heart and reveal hidden truths, please take a second to subscribe to this channel. Like this video so more people can hear these stories. Turn on the notification button so you never miss the next chapter. And tell me in the comments where you are watching from. Are you in Texas, California, New York, or somewhere else? I want to know who is walking this journey with me. Now let me take you back to that Friday night. I arrived at the church a little before 10 p.m. The town was quiet. The wind moved the trees slowly. The building looked bigger than usual, like it was watching me. I pushed the heavy wooden door open. Inside, the hallway lights were on, but the sanctuary was dark. "Hello," called softly. No answer. I walked slowly, my footsteps echoing on the floor. Maybe I am early, I thought. Then I saw him. Pastor Cole was standing near the altar. He was not wearing his usual suit. He wore a simple shirt and dark pants. His Bible was open on the pulpit. The candles were lit. "You came," he said with a small smile. "Course, Pastor," I replied. "I thought everyone would be here." He looked around the empty room. Sometimes God calls only one person. My heart began to beat faster. "Where are the others?" he asked. He walked closer to me. "Tonight is not for others, Lillian." His voice sounded different. Lower. Lower. I felt something shift inside me, like a quiet warning I did not yet understand. He asked me to sit on the front bench. I obeyed. He began to pray. At first, his words sounded normal. He spoke about purpose, sacrifice, obedience, and trust. But as the minutes passed, his prayers became heavier. His eyes stayed on me the whole time. "Do you trust God, Lillian?" he asked suddenly. "Yes, Pastor," I whispered. "Do you trust your pastor?" I hesitated for a second, then nodded. He stepped closer. "Sometimes," he said, "God tests us in ways that hurt before they heal." I swallowed hard. "What kind of test?" I asked. He did not answer immediately. Instead, he closed the church doors. The sound of the lock clicking was loud in the quiet room. My hands began to sweat. "Pastor," I said softly, "maybe we should wait for the others." He turned to me slowly. "There are no others." My heart froze. In that moment, I felt something I had never felt before. Fear. Not the kind that makes you scream. The kind that makes you silent. He walked back toward me step by step. And that was the moment I realized something terrible. I was not invited to a vigil. I was invited into a secret. And whatever that secret was, it was already too late for me to escape. I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out. Pastor Cole stopped right in front of me. His shadow covered my face. "Lillian," he said softly, almost kindly, "tonight will change your life forever." I looked up at him with trembling eyes. And in that second, I knew something was terribly wrong. But I still did not know how deep the darkness would go. And just as he reached out his hand toward me, the lights in the sanctuary suddenly went off. The church was swallowed by darkness. And I heard a sound behind me. Someone else was in the room. I turned slowly, my heart pounding like it would tear my chest open. Who was there? And why were they watching us? I turned slowly toward the darkness behind me. My heart was beating so fast that I thought I might faint. For a few seconds I could not see anything. The sanctuary was completely dark, except for a faint glow from the candles near the altar. Shadows moved on the walls like living things. "Who is there?" I whispered. No answer came. Pastor Cole stood beside me, calm and still, as if nothing was wrong. "Do not be afraid, Lillian," he said quietly. "Sometimes fear is just the door to revelation." His words did not comfort me. They made me colder. I stood up from the bench, my legs shaking. "Pastor, I think I should go home," I said. He smiled gently, but his eyes looked different now. They were not warm anymore. They were sharp, like he was studying me. "You came all this way in faith," he said. "Do you really want to leave before God speaks?" I looked again toward the darkness behind me. The sound I heard came again. Soft movement. Breath. I felt my stomach twist. "There is someone here," I said. Pastor Cole turned his head slowly, as if he already knew. "Yes," he said. My chest tightened. "Ooh." Yes. Before he could answer, the lights suddenly came back on. And blinked. Near the back of the sanctuary, I saw a man standing by the door. He was tall. His face was half hidden by the shadow of the wall. He did not look like anyone from our church. I felt my throat dry. "Who is that?" I asked again. Pastor Cole walked a few steps forward. "This is Brother Marcus," he said calmly. "He helps me with special prayers." The man nodded slightly but did not smile. Something about him made me uneasy. I had never seen him before. "Pastor," I whispered, "why did you invite me alone?" Pastor Cole looked at me for a long moment. "Because you are special, Lillian," he said. "And special people are chosen for special tests." I did not like the sound of that. When I was young, I thought faith meant never questioning authority. I thought obedience was the same as holiness. I thought if a pastor spoke, it was God speaking through him. That night I learned how dangerous that belief could be. Pastor Cole asked Marcus to stand near the door. Then he turned back to me. "Sit down, Lillian," he said softly. I hesitated. "Pastor, I really need to go home," I said again. He walked closer to me. "You promised God you would trust him," he said. "Do not break that promise now." His words pressed on my heart like heavy stones. I sat down slowly. He began to talk about sacrifice. He said some blessings come only when a person is willing to give up everything. He said some destinies require silence, obedience, and secrecy. He said God sometimes chooses a young woman to carry a spiritual burden for the church. As he spoke, his voice grew softer and slower. I felt trapped. My mind was screaming at me to run, but my body would not move. I looked at Marcus. He was watching us closely. His eyes were empty. I realized something then. This was not a prayer meeting. This was not a vigil. This was something else. And I was the only one who did not understand what it was. Pastor Cole reached out his hand toward me. "Lillian," he said quietly, "do you trust me?" I opened my mouth but no sound came out. At that moment, a memory flashed in my mind. My mother's voice. "If something feels wrong, it probably is." I stood up suddenly. "No," I said, my voice shaking. "I am leaving." Pastor Cole's face changed. For the first time I saw anger in his eyes. Marcus moved slightly closer to the door. My heart started pounding louder. "Pastor," I said firmly, "please open the door." For a few seconds no one spoke. The air felt heavy. Then Pastor Cole sighed, as if disappointed. "Lillian," he said, "you are misunderstanding everything." "Maybe," I said, "but I still want to go home." He stared at me. Finally he nodded. "Marcus, open the door," he said. Marcus unlocked the door slowly. The sound of the lock felt like freedom. I walked past them without looking back. When I stepped outside, the cold air hit my face like a slap. I breathed deeply. I was safe. At least that was what I thought. I walked home alone that night, my mind full of confusion. I told myself I had imagined the danger. I told myself Pastor Cole was just trying to guide me spiritually. I told myself I was overreacting. But deep inside something had cracked. The next Sunday, Pastor Cole preached like nothing had happened. He smiled. He joked. He prayed for people. Everyone loved him. I sat in the front row, quiet and confused. After the service he came to me. "Lillian," he said gently, "I hope you are not upset about Friday." I looked at him. "I do not understand what happened," I said honestly. He placed a hand on my shoulder. "Some things are not meant to be understood," he said. "They are meant to be accepted." His hand felt heavy. That was the beginning of my silence. For weeks, I avoided being alone with him. But he kept finding ways to speak to me. He called me after church. He asked me to help with church work. He told me God had big plans for my life. People around me saw a kind pastor and a devoted young woman. They did not see my fear. They did not hear my silent prayers at night. And then one evening everything changed. I was walking home from work when a church member stopped me. Her name was Clara. She was older than me, maybe in her 40s. She looked nervous. "Lillian," she whispered, "can I talk to you?" He nodded. We stood under a streetlight. Her hands were shaking. "Did Pastor Cole ever invite you to a private vigil?" she asked. My heart stopped. "Yes," I said slowly. Her eyes filled with tears. "You too," she whispered. In that moment I realized something terrifying. I was not the only one. And the secret was bigger than I imagined. Clara grabbed my hand. "We need to talk," she said. But before she could say more, a car stopped beside us. Pastor Cole was inside. He rolled down the window. "Good evening, ladies," he said with a smile. Clara froze. I felt the ground disappear under my feet. Pastor Cole looked at me. "Lillian," he said softly, "we need to have another conversation." His eyes were calm. "Come." And in that moment, I knew my life was about to change in a way I could never undo. Pastor Cole's car idled beside us, the engine humming softly like it was breathing. The street light above us flickered. Clara's fingers tightened around my hand. For a moment none of us spoke. "Good evening, Clara," Pastor Cole said again. His voice smooth and polite. "You look surprised to see me." Clara swallowed hard. "Good evening, Pastor," she replied. He turned his eyes toward me. "Lillian," he said gently, "I was just thinking about you. I felt led to check on you." I felt a cold wave move through my chest. "I am fine, Pastor," I said quickly. He smiled. "I am glad to hear that," he said. "Faithful people should never walk alone at night." His words sounded caring, but his eyes felt heavy on me. Clara stepped slightly closer to me. "We were just talking," she said. Pastor Cole nodded slowly. That is good, he said. The church is a family. Families talk. Then he looked at his watch. It is getting late, he said. I will see you both on Sunday. He rolled up the window and drove away. The sound of his car fading down the road felt like a warning bell. Clara released my hand only when the car disappeared completely. Her face looked pale. You see now, she whispered. See what? Yes. She looked around to make sure no one else was nearby. We cannot talk here, she said. Come to my house. I hesitated. Clara lived on the edge of town, in a small house surrounded by tall trees. People rarely visited her. Some said she was strange. Others said she talked too much. But something in her eyes told me she was telling the truth. He nodded. We walked in silence. When we reached her house, she locked the door behind us and closed all the curtains. The room felt tight, like the walls were listening. Sit down, she said softly. I sat on an old couch while she poured 2 cups of tea, though neither of us drank. Lillian, she said, her voice trembling. How long has Pastor Cole been paying attention to you? I thought for a moment. Few months, I said. She nodded slowly. That is how it starts, she said. My stomach tightened. What do you mean? I asked. Clara stared at the floor for a long time before speaking again. 3 years ago, she said, he invited me to a private vigil too. My breath stopped. What happened? I whispered. Her hands began to shake. First I thought it was a blessing, she said. He said God had chosen me. He said my faith was rare. He said I was special. Her voice cracked. Then he started saying things that did not sound like God anymore. I leaned forward. Like what? I asked. She swallowed hard. He said obedience was proof of faith, she said. He said silence was proof of loyalty. He said if I told anyone, I would destroy the church and bring shame to God. My heart began to pound. Did he touch you? I asked softly. Clara's eyes filled with tears. She did not answer immediately. Then she nodded. Once, she whispered. Only once. The word hit me like thunder. Felt dizzy. Why did you not tell anyone? I asked. She laughed bitterly. Who would believe me? She said. He is the pastor. I am just a lonely woman who works in a laundry shop. She looked at me. Do you know what people say about women who accuse pastors? She asked. I shook my head. They say we are liars, she said. They say we are trying to destroy a man of God. They say we are tempted by the devil. Her tears fell quietly. I kept silent because I was afraid. Her words burned inside me. I remembered that Friday night. The locked door. The strange man. The way Pastor Cole's voice changed. I realized something. It escaped. Clara did not. Lillian, she said, looking at me closely. Did he do anything to you? I hesitated. No, I said slowly. I left before anything happened. Clara exhaled deeply. You were brave, she said. I did not feel brave. Felt lucky. That night I could not sleep. Clara's story replayed in my mind again and again. The next day I tried to act normal. I went to work. I smiled at customers. I listened to people talk about weather and groceries. But inside me something had changed. I started watching Pastor Cole carefully. I noticed things I had never noticed before. The way he spoke softly to young women. The way he asked them to stay after church. The way he looked disappointed when they refused. I also noticed how people adored him. They called him holy. They called him chosen. They called him untouchable. One Sunday during service, he preached about purity. He talked about how women must guard their hearts. He talked about how temptation destroys churches. People nodded and said amen. Felt sick. After the service, he approached me again. Lillian, he said gently, you have been distant lately. I looked at him. Have been busy, I said. He smiled. Busyness is sometimes a sign of fear, he said. My hands clenched. Fear of what? I asked. Fear of destiny, he said. His words sounded like honey, but I felt poison underneath. He leaned closer. We need to talk again soon, he said. I forced a smile. Maybe, I said. That evening I went back to Clara's house. We sat together in silence. What are we going to do? I asked. Clara looked at me with tired eyes. Nothing, she said. Nothing. I repeated. She nodded. If we speak, no one will believe us, she said. We will be blamed. We will be shamed. And he will still be pastor. Her words felt heavy, but they sounded real. In small towns, pastors were kings. Women were whispers. Days turned into weeks. Pastor Cole continued preaching. The church continued growing. New families joined. Young girls looked at him with admiration. And I felt a quiet fear growing inside me. One evening, I found a note slipped into my Bible during service. My hands trembled as I opened it. It was written in neat handwriting. Lillian, God is not done with you. Come to the church office tomorrow evening. Loan. There was no signature. But I knew who wrote it. My chest tightened. I showed the note to Clara. Her face turned pale. Do not go, she said immediately. But something inside me felt torn. Part of me wanted to run. Another part of me wanted answers. If I refused, would he stop? If I went, would I finally understand his intentions? That night, I prayed harder than ever before. God, I whispered, if I go, protect me. The next evening, as the sun slowly disappeared behind the trees, I stood in front of the church again. The same building. The same quiet parking lot. The same heavy door. I took a deep breath. And I stepped inside. I did not know that this time, I would not leave the same way again. The church felt different that evening. It was quiet but not peaceful. The hallway lights were dim, like someone wanted the building to look asleep. My footsteps echoed on the floor, each sound louder than the last. I stopped in front of the church office door. My hand hovered in the air. For a moment I thought of Clara. Do not go, she had said. But I was tired of being afraid. I knocked softly. Come in, a voice said. I pushed the door open. Pastor Cole was sitting behind his desk. The room smelled of old books and polished wood. A lamp on the desk cast a warm yellow light on his face. He looked calm, almost kind. Close the door, Lillian, he said gently. My fingers tightened on the door handle. I stepped inside but did not close it completely. He noticed. He smiled faintly. You do not trust me anymore, he said. I stayed silent. He stood up and walked slowly around the desk. Sit down, he said. I remained standing. Why did you ask me to come here alone? Yes. He looked at me carefully, as if measuring my courage. 'Cause you are changing, he said. And change can be dangerous if not guided. Guided by who? Yes. By me, he replied softly. A chill ran through my body. Pastor, I said, I am just a church member. There is nothing special about me. He shook his head. You do not see what I see, he said. He moved closer. When I was young, he continued, I asked God for people with rare faith. People who could carry heavy spiritual responsibilities. And then I saw you. His words sounded holy, but something in his tone felt wrong. I remembered Clara's story. You invited me to a private vigil, I said quietly. Why? He did not answer immediately. Instead, he walked to the door. He closed it. The click of the lock made my heart jump. Pastor, I said quickly, please open the door. He turned back to me. Relax, Lillian, he said calmly. No one will disturb us. My hands began to shake. I felt trapped again. Why did you invite me alone? I repeated. He sighed. Because some truths cannot be shared in crowds, he said. He walked closer to me. Lillian, he said softly. Do you believe that God sometimes chooses people for sacrifices others cannot understand? My throat felt dry. What kind of sacrifices? Yes. He looked into my eyes. The kind that separates ordinary believers from chosen ones, he said. His words frightened me. I stepped back. Pastor, I said firmly, if this is about church work, we can talk on Sunday with others present. His face changed. For a moment, the kindness disappeared. You are becoming difficult, he said. I swallowed hard. I am becoming careful, I replied. His eyes narrowed slightly. Carefulness can be rebellion, he said. That was the moment I realized something clearly. He was not talking like a pastor anymore. He was talking like someone who wanted control. I thought of Clara again. I thought of all the young girls who admired him. I felt anger rise inside me for the first time. "Pastor," I said slowly, "have you invited other women like this before?" His expression froze. "Why would you ask that?" he said. "Because I am not the only one," I replied. The room became very quiet. He stared at me for a long time. Then he smiled again. "Be careful with such thoughts, Lillian," he said. "The devil uses suspicion to destroy faith." My hands clenched. "Is Clara also a tool of the devil?" I asked suddenly. His smile disappeared completely. For a few seconds he did not speak. "You've been talking to Clara," he said slowly. "Yes," I said. He walked closer to me until I could feel his breath. "Clara is unstable," he said. "She imagines things. She is bitter. She wants attention." His words made me angry. "She cried when she told me her story," I said. "She was not imagining anything." His voice became cold. "You should not listen to people who do not understand spiritual authority," he said. I felt my courage growing. "Authority does not mean you can do anything," I said. His eyes flashed. "Lillian," he said quietly, "do you know what happens to people who accuse pastors in small towns like this?" My heart jumped. "They are called liars," he continued. "They lose friends. They lose respect. Sometimes they lose everything." His words felt like a threat. "Are you threatening me?" I asked. He looked at me for a long moment. "I am warning you," he said. My chest tightened. In that moment I understood something painful. He was not afraid of God. He was afraid of being exposed. I took a step toward the door. "Open it, Pastor," I said. He did not move. "Open it," I repeated louder. He stared at me. Then slowly he unlocked the door. I opened it and stepped outside. But before I could leave, he spoke again. "Lillian," he said softly, "turn back. You have a bright future in this church," he said. "Do not ruin it because of misunderstandings." I looked at him. "My future does not belong to you," I said. I walked away. That night I ran all the way home. My hands were shaking. My mind was racing. I told Clara everything. Her face was pale. "He is dangerous," she said. "We cannot stay silent anymore," I said. She looked at me with fear. "If we speak, he will destroy us," she said. "Maybe," I said. "But if we stay silent, he will destroy others." For the first time, Clara looked at me with something like hope. "What do you want to do?" she asked. I thought for a moment. "We need proof," I said. "Proof?" she repeated. "Yes," I said. "If we can prove what he is doing, people will listen." Clara hesitated. "How?" she asked. I did not know the answer yet. But deep inside me I felt something new. Not fear. Not confusion. Determination. The next Sunday I sat in the church again. Pastor Cole preached like always. People smiled at him. Children laughed. Women listened with shining eyes. No one saw the darkness behind his smile. But I saw it. And I knew something was coming. Something that would expose everything. That week something happened that I did not expect. A new family joined the church. They had a daughter. Her name was Evelyn. She was young. And Pastor Cole noticed her immediately. When I saw the way he looked at her, my heart stopped. Because I knew what came next. And I knew I could not let it happen again. But I did not know how far he was willing to go to protect his secret. And I did not know how much pain I would have to face to stop him. Evelyn stood near the church entrance, holding her mother's hand tightly. She looked about 19 or 20, with gentle eyes and a quiet smile. Her family had just moved to Willow Creek from another state. People surrounded them with greetings and questions, welcoming them warmly. Pastor Cole walked toward them with his usual calm confidence. "Welcome to our church," he said kindly. Evelyn looked up at him with respect. "Thank you, Pastor," she said softly. When he shook her hand, I saw something that made my stomach turn. The same look, the same slow attention, the same interest he once showed me. I felt my chest tighten. Clara stood beside me. "You see it too," she whispered. He nodded. That Sunday, Pastor Cole preached about new beginnings. He talked about how God brings new people into a church for special purposes. As he spoke, his eyes kept returning to Evelyn. After the service, he approached her family. He laughed with her father. He praised her mother. And when he spoke to Evelyn, his voice softened. Later that evening, Clara came to my house. We sat at my small kitchen table. "He will invite her soon," Clara said. "I know," I replied. "We cannot let it happen," she said. "But how do we stop him?" I asked. "We have no proof." Clara stared at her hands. "What if we warn her?" she said. I hesitated. "If we warn her without evidence, she might think we are jealous or crazy," I said. "People trust pastors," Clara said quietly. "Not women." Her words were painful but true. For days I watched Pastor Cole closely. I noticed how he asked Evelyn to stay after choir practice. I noticed how he praised her faith in front of others. I noticed how he slowly separated her from the crowd. One evening, I saw him talking to her alone near the church office. Evelyn nodded respectfully, listening to him. I walked closer. "Good evening, Pastor," I said. He turned to me. "Good evening, Lillian," he replied. Evelyn smiled at me. "Hi, I am Evelyn," she said. "Nice to meet you," I said gently. Pastor Cole looked slightly annoyed. "We were just discussing church activities," he said. He nodded. "That is good," I said. Then I looked at Evelyn. "If you ever need anything," I said, "you can talk to me or Clara. We live nearby." Evelyn looked surprised but smiled again. "Thank you," she said. Pastor Cole cleared his throat. "Evelyn," he said, "I will talk to you later about the special prayer meeting." Special prayer meeting. The words felt like knives. That night I could not sleep. I knew what was coming. 2 days later, Clara ran to my house, out of breath. "He invited her," she said. My heart dropped. "When?" I asked. "Friday night," Clara replied. "The same day. The same time. The same pattern." We sat in silence. "We have to act," I said. "How?" Clara asked. "We need to be there," I said. "There," she repeated. "Yes," I said. "If he invited her to a private vigil, we should not let her go alone." Clara looked afraid. "He will know something is wrong," she said. "Let him know," I replied. That Friday night, the sky was dark and heavy. I met Clara near the church. Our hands were shaking. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. "No," I said honestly. "But I am sure about one thing. We cannot stay silent anymore." We walked toward the church together. The parking lot was almost empty. One car was there. Pastor Cole's car. I felt my chest tighten. We pushed the door open slowly. Inside, the lights were dim again. The hallway felt cold. We walked quietly toward the sanctuary. I heard voices. Pastor Cole's voice. And Evelyn's voice. My heart began to pound. We stopped near the door. Through a small opening we saw them. Evelyn was sitting on the front bench. Pastor Cole stood in front of her. He was speaking softly. "You are chosen, Evelyn," he said. I saw her nod. I saw the same confusion I once had. My hands clenched into fists. I looked at Clara. She nodded slightly. We stepped forward. I pushed the door open. The sound echoed through the sanctuary. Pastor Cole turned suddenly. His face changed when he saw us. "Lillian." "Clara," he said. Evelyn looked surprised. "What are you doing here?" Pastor Cole asked calmly. I walked forward. "We came to pray," I said. He stared at me. "This is a private vigil," he said. "So was the one you invited me to," I replied. The air became tense. Evelyn looked from him to us. Pastor Cole forced a smile. "Evelyn," he said gently, "you can go home now. We will continue later." Evelyn stood up slowly. She looked confused but obeyed. When she walked past us, I caught her hand gently. "Be careful," I whispered. Her eyes widened slightly. She nodded. When she left, the church felt emptier than before. Pastor Cole turned to us. "You should not have come," he said quietly. Clara's hands were shaking. "Why not?" I asked. "Because you do not understand what you are interfering with," he said. I stepped closer. "We understand enough," I said. He looked at us for a long moment. Then he smiled slowly. "You think you can stop me?" he asked. His words sent a chill through my body. We did not answer. He walked toward us. Faith can be dangerous when it turns into rebellion, he said. Clara stepped back. Pastor Cole stopped a few steps away from us. Lillian, he said softly, you have crossed a line. My heart pounded. I lifted my head. Maybe, I said. But you crossed it first. For a few seconds no one spoke. Then Pastor Cole laughed quietly. You have no idea what you have started, he said. And in that moment, I knew our fight had only just begun. Pastor Cole's laughter echoed through the empty sanctuary. It was not loud. It was not angry. It was calm. And that made it more frightening. Clara and I stood still, unsure whether to move or speak. You think you are protecting her, he said slowly. But sometimes protection destroys destiny. His words sounded holy, but his eyes looked dark. I took a deep breath. If her destiny requires fear and secrecy, I said, then it is not from God. For a moment his smile faded. You speak like someone who has been poisoned by doubt, he said. I stepped forward. No, I said. I speak like someone who has opened her eyes. The air felt heavy between us. Clara moved closer to me. Pastor Cole looked at her. Clara, he said gently, you have always been emotional. Her face turned pale. You hurt me, she said quietly. He tilted his head. Hurt is sometimes part of spiritual growth, he said. His words made my stomach twist. I realized then how dangerous he was. He did not see pain as wrong. He saw it as useful. We left the church that night without saying anything else. But I knew something had changed. We were no longer invisible. The next Sunday, Pastor Cole preached about betrayal. He spoke about people who pretend to be faithful but secretly destroy the church. As he spoke, his eyes rested on Clara and me. People in the church began to look at us differently. Whispers started. Some women stopped talking to us. Some men avoided us. One afternoon I heard 2 church members talking behind my back. She thinks she is better than everyone, one said. I heard she is jealous of the pastor, another replied. Their words burned like fire. Clara stopped attending church for a while. Continued going. I wanted to see what Pastor Cole would do next. One evening I received a phone call. Hello, said Lillian, a voice said softly. It was Evelyn. My heart jumped. Are you okay? Yes. Yes, she said slowly. But I wanted to ask you something. I held the phone tightly. What is it? Yes. Pastor Cole invited me to another special prayer meeting, she said. My chest tightened. When? Yes. Tomorrow night, she replied. Did he say you should come alone? Yes. Yes, she said. There was silence between us. Do you feel comfortable going? Asked gently. She hesitated. I do not know, she said. He is the pastor. My parents trust him. Everyone trusts him. Her words sounded exactly like mine years ago. Evelyn, I said softly, sometimes people in powerful positions misuse trust. She was quiet. Are you saying he is dangerous? She asked. I closed my eyes for a moment. I cannot tell you what to think, I said. But if something makes you feel afraid or confused, listen to that feeling. Her voice trembled. I do feel confused, she said. Then do not go alone, I said. After we ended the call, I sat on my bed for a long time. I knew what I had to do. The next evening I went to Clara's house. We have to be there again, I said. Clara looked tired. People already hate us, she said. Let them hate us, I replied. I would rather be hated than silent. Clara stared at me. You have changed, she said. He nodded. Fear changed me, I said. But courage is changing me too. That night we walked toward the church again. But this time something felt different. The parking lot was not empty. Several cars were there. That surprised me. Why are there cars? Clara whispered. I shook my head. I did not know. We walked closer. Inside the church we heard voices. Many voices. Not just Pastor Cole and Evelyn. I felt my heart race. We entered the sanctuary slowly. People were sitting on the benches. Church members. Women. Young people. Evelyn was there too. Pastor Cole stood at the pulpit. When he saw us, his eyes flashed. But he smiled immediately. Brothers and sisters, he said loudly. Thank you for coming on such short notice. People looked around in confusion. Tonight, he continued, I need to address a serious issue. My stomach dropped. He looked directly at me. There are people among us who are trying to destroy this church, he said. Clara's hand trembled. I felt the ground shift beneath my feet. He raised his voice slightly. They pretend to be faithful, but they spread lies, he said. People began to murmur. Pastor Cole pointed slowly in my direction. Lillian Hartwell, he said. Every eye turned toward me. My heart pounded. He pointed at Clara. And Clara Wilson, he continued. The room became silent. Pastor Cole looked at the congregation. These two women have been accusing me of terrible things, he said. Gasps filled the room. My hands shook. They say I invited young women to private meetings for wrong reasons, he said. People began to whisper loudly. Some looked shocked. Some looked angry. Some looked confused. I felt my throat dry. Pastor Cole turned to me. Lillian, he said calmly, stand up. My legs felt weak. Clara looked at me. Do not, she whispered. But I stood up slowly. My heart was beating wildly. Do you really believe these lies? Pastor Cole asked the congregation. People looked at me. I felt like I was standing alone in a storm. Then he turned to me again. Lillian, he said softly, tell everyone the truth. For a moment I could not breathe. This was the moment I had feared, the moment I had prepared for. But I did not know if anyone would believe me. I looked around the room. Faces I had known for years. People who had smiled with me. People who had prayed with me. People who now looked at me like I was dangerous. My mouth opened. And before I could speak, someone stood up from the back of the church. It was Evelyn. Her hands were shaking. Pastor Cole, she said softly. Everyone turned toward her. He looked surprised. Yes, Evelyn. He asked gently. She swallowed hard. I want to say something, she said. The room froze. My heart stopped. I looked at her. Her eyes met mine. And in that moment I realized she had understood everything. Pastor Cole smiled nervously. Evelyn, he said, this is not the time. But she stepped forward. Yes, it is, she said. The church was silent. I felt tears rise in my eyes. Because I knew something big was about to happen. And I knew nothing would ever be the same again. The entire church held its breath. Evelyn stood in the middle of the aisle, her hands shaking, her face pale, but her eyes clear. Pastor Cole stared at her. Evelyn, he said softly, you are tired. Sit down. We will talk later. She did not move. No, Pastor, she said. Her voice was quiet, but it carried across the room. People turned their heads toward her. Her parents looked confused. Her mother whispered her name. But Evelyn took another step forward. I want to speak now, she said. The silence in the church felt heavy, like a storm waiting to break. Pastor Cole's smile tightened. What do you want to say, my daughter? He asked. His voice sounded gentle, but something in his eyes had changed. Evelyn swallowed hard. You invited me to a special prayer meeting, she said. People began to murmur. Pastor Cole nodded calmly. Yes, he said. I invite many young people for spiritual guidance. Evelyn looked at him. But you told me to come alone, she said. The murmurs grew louder. Pastor Cole raised his hand slightly. Sometimes privacy is needed for counseling, he said. Evelyn's hands trembled more. But when I asked if my mother could come, she continued, you said no. Her mother stood up suddenly. What? She asked. Evelyn turned toward her mother. He said it was secret, she said. He said God chose me for something special. Gasps filled the room. Pastor Cole's face remained calm, but I saw a flicker of anger in his eyes. Evelyn, he said slowly, you are misunderstanding spiritual matters. But Evelyn shook her head. I was confused, she said. I was scared. And when Lillian told me to be careful, I realized something was wrong. Every eye turned toward me again. My heart pounded, but this time I did not feel alone. Pastor Cole took a step forward. Evelyn, he said, do you know how serious your words are? Yes, she said quietly. Her voice shook, but she did not stop. I felt afraid to come to the church alone at night, she said. That is not how a pastor should make someone feel. The room exploded into whispers. Her father stood up. Evelyn, he said, what are you saying? She looked at him. I am saying I was scared, she replied. Clara stood up beside me. And she is not the only one, Clara said. People turned toward her. My chest tightened. Clara's voice trembled, but she continued. He invited me to private meetings too, she said. Years ago. Her words fell into the room like stones. Pastor Cole laughed lightly. This is ridiculous, he said. He turned to the congregation. You see how rumors spread, he said. 2 emotional women and 1 confused girl can destroy years of ministry. Some people nodded. Some people looked uncertain. I felt anger rise inside me. I stood up fully. He invited me too, I said loudly. The room went silent again. My voice shook, but I forced myself to continue. When I was 23, I said. He invited me to a private vigil on a Friday night. Came in faith. I thought others would be there. But I was the only one. People stared at me. Pastor Cole looked at me calmly. And did I harm you? He asked. His question cut through the air. I hesitated. No, I said slowly. Because I left before anything happened. Some people sighed with relief. Pastor Cole smiled. You see, he said to the congregation. Nothing happened. My hands clenched. But why did you lock the church doors? He asked. A ripple of shock moved through the room. Pastor Cole's eyes narrowed slightly. Why was another man in the church that night? Continued. People turned toward him again. He paused. Sometimes I invite assistants for prayer, he said. But why did you tell me I was chosen for a special sacrifice? He asked. My voice broke. Why did you make me feel afraid? The room was silent. For a moment, Pastor Cole did not speak. Then he sighed deeply, as if tired. Lillian, he said softly, you were young. You misunderstood spiritual language. His words sounded reasonable. Some people nodded again. I felt my courage slipping. Then something unexpected happened. An older woman stood up near the back. Her name was Margaret. She had been in the church longer than anyone else. Pastor Cole, she said slowly. He turned toward her. Yes, Sister Margaret. He asked. Her hands were shaking. Years ago, she said, you invited my niece to stay after church many times. The room froze. Pastor Cole's face stiffened. She stopped coming to church soon after. Margaret continued. She never told us why. Margaret looked around the room. Maybe it is time we stop pretending nothing is wrong, she said. Her words hit the church like thunder. More people began to whisper. Another woman stood up. My cousin stopped attending too, she said. A man raised his hand slowly. My daughter once told me the pastor made her uncomfortable. He said quietly. The room began to change. What started as whispers turned into questions. Pastor Cole looked around. For the first time he looked nervous. Brothers and sisters, he said loudly, this is chaos. The devil is using fear and confusion to attack the church. Some people still nodded. But others looked uncertain. I felt my heart racing. I realized something important. Truth is fragile at first. But once it starts to speak, it becomes impossible to silence. Evelyn walked closer to me. Her eyes met mine. Thank you, she whispered. Tears filled my eyes. Pastor Cole stepped back toward the pulpit. Enough, he said firmly. His voice was no longer gentle. This meeting is over. People did not move immediately. Some stood. Some sat. Some stared at him. Then he looked directly at me. Lillian, he said quietly, you have made a powerful enemy tonight. A chill ran through my body. I knew he was not joking. That night, the church did not end with prayers. It ended with silence. And when I walked out of the building, I felt something strange. Felt proud. Felt terrified. And I felt sure that the real battle had just begun. That night I did not sleep. Every sound outside my house made me sit up in bed. Every shadow on the wall looked like someone watching me. Pastor Cole's words kept repeating in my mind. You have made a powerful enemy tonight. In the morning, Willow Creek felt different. People who used to smile at me now looked away. At the grocery store, two women stopped talking when I walked past them. At work, my manager called me into his office. Lillian, he said carefully, people are talking. Talking about what? Yes. About you and the church, he replied. I nodded slowly. He sighed. I'm not saying you are wrong, he said. But this town does not like trouble. I left his office with a heavy heart. Clara came to see me later that day. Her eyes looked tired. They are spreading rumors about me, she said. Me too, I replied. She sat beside me on the couch. Some people say we are jealous, she said. Some say we want attention. Some say we are trying to destroy God's work. Her voice broke. I knew this would happen, she whispered. I took her hand. You told the truth, I said. That matters. But does it matter if no one believes us? She asked. I did not know how to answer. 2 days later, something unexpected happened. Evelyn came to my house. Her parents did not come with her. She stood at my door, nervous and pale. Hi, she said softly. I opened the door wider. Come in, I said. She sat on the same couch Clara had sat on. Her hands were shaking. My parents are angry, she said. You? Yes. At everyone, she replied. Me. You. The church. She looked down. They told me I embarrassed the pastor, she said. They said I should not have spoken. My heart hurt for her. But how do you feel? Yes. She looked up slowly. Relieved, she said. Her words surprised me. Relieved. I repeated. Yes, she said. I felt something was wrong, but I thought I was crazy. When I heard your story and Clara's story, I knew I was not imagining it. Tears filled her eyes. Thank you for speaking, she said. I felt tears rise in my own eyes. You were brave too, I said. She shook her head. I was terrified, she said. But I was more terrified of staying silent. Her words stayed with me. That evening I received a letter. There was no name on the envelope. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was a single piece of paper. Stop what you are doing or you will regret it. There was no signature. But I knew who sent it. I showed the letter to Clara. Her face turned pale. He is threatening us, she said. Yes, I replied. What if he goes further? She asked. I looked at the letter again. If we stop now, I said, he wins. Clara was silent. For the first time, I saw fear not only in her eyes, but also in her soul. The next Sunday, something shocking happened. Pastor Cole did not preach. Instead, a guest pastor stood at the pulpit. Pastor Cole is taking a short break for rest and prayer, the guest pastor announced. People murmured. Some looked relieved. Some looked confused. I sat quietly in the back row. For a moment I thought maybe the story was ending. But I was wrong. On Wednesday evening, Clara called me. Her voice was shaking. Lillian, she said, you need to come to my house. I felt a knot in my stomach. What happened? I asked. He came to see me, she said. Ooh. I asked, though I already knew. Pastor Cole, she whispered. My heart stopped. What did he say? I asked. He said we need to talk, she replied. Alone. I grabbed my coat. I'm coming, I said. When I arrived at Clara's house, her hands were still shaking. He was here 10 minutes ago, she said. He knocked on my door like nothing happened. Did you open it? I asked. No, she said. I spoke through the door. What did he say? I asked. He said if we continue, he will make sure we regret it, she said. Her voice broke. He said he has friends. Powerful friends. A chill ran through my body. For the first time I felt something close to panic. We are small-town women, Clara said. He is a pastor with influence. Who will protect us? I looked at her. We will protect each other, I said. But deep inside I was not sure if that was enough. That night, I stood by my window, looking at the dark street. Every passing car made my heart jump. Then my phone rang. I looked at the screen. Unknown number. My hands trembled as I answered. Hello, said. There was silence on the other side. Then a familiar voice spoke. Lillian, Pastor Cole said softly. My blood ran cold. We need to talk, he said. About what? I asked. About your future, he replied. I swallowed hard. I am not afraid of you, I said. He laughed quietly. You should be, he said. The line went dead. I stood there, frozen. In that moment I realized something terrifying. This was no longer just about faith. This was about power. And Pastor Cole was not ready to lose. But I was not ready to be silent again. And the next move would change everything. I held the phone long after the call ended. My hands were cold. For the first time in my life, I understood what it meant to feel hunted. That night, I did not pray for miracles. I prayed for courage. The next morning, I met Clara and Evelyn at a small diner outside town. It was quiet, with old wooden tables and soft music playing in the background. We sat in a corner booth. Evelyn looked tired. Her parents barely speak to me anymore, she said. Clara stirred her tea without drinking it. Pastor Cole is telling people we are dangerous women, she said. I nodded slowly. He is afraid, I said. Afraid of what? Evelyn asked. Of the truth, I replied. For a moment none of us spoke. Then I leaned forward. We cannot fight him alone, I said. Clara looked up. What do you mean? She asked. We need help, I said. Real help. Evelyn's eyes widened. Like who? She asked. I thought for a moment. Police, I said. Clara's hand froze. The police. She repeated. Yes, I said. If he is threatening us, if he is abusing his power, someone must investigate. Clara looked terrified. They will not believe us, she said. Maybe not at first, I replied. But silence will never protect us. Evelyn nodded slowly. I will go with you, she said. Her courage surprised me. That afternoon, we walked into the small police station in Willow Creek. The building smelled of coffee and old paper. A young officer looked up at us. Can I help you? He asked. I took a deep breath. We want to report harassment and abuse of power, I said. His expression changed slightly. He asked us to sit down. We told our stories. I spoke about the private vigil, the locked doors, the strange man, the threats. Clara spoke about her experience years ago. Evelyn spoke about the invitations, the secrecy, the fear. The officer listened quietly, taking notes. When we finished, he leaned back. These are serious allegations, he said carefully. We know, I replied. Do you have evidence? He asked. The word felt heavy. I hesitated. Not much, I admitted. Clara showed him the threatening letter. Evelyn showed him messages Pastor Cole had sent her, asking her to meet alone. The officer nodded slowly. This may not be enough to arrest him, he said. But it is enough to start asking questions. My heart raced. Questions. Yes. Yes, he said. And sometimes questions are the beginning of truth. When we left the station, I felt something I had not felt in weeks. Hope. But hope did not last long. The next day, Willow Creek exploded. News traveled fast in small towns. People heard that women had gone to the police about Pastor Cole. Some people supported us. Most people did not. At the grocery store, a man shouted at me. You are trying to destroy our church, he said. At work, my manager told me to take a few days off. People are uncomfortable, he said. I understood what he meant. Clara stopped leaving her house. Evelyn told me her father was considering moving to another town. One evening, I sat alone in my living room, staring at the wall. For a moment, I wondered if Pastor Cole was right. Maybe we had destroyed everything. Maybe silence would have been easier. Then my phone rang. It was the police officer. Lillian, he said, we need you to come to the station. My heart jumped. Why? Yes. We spoke to Pastor Cole, he said. And he denied everything, the officer replied. But something interesting happened. What? Yes. Another woman came forward, he said. My breath stopped. Another woman. I repeated. Yes, he said. She heard about your report and decided to speak. My eyes filled with tears. She said she had been silent for years, he continued. She was afraid no one would believe her. I sat down slowly. Her name is Rebecca, he said. She wants to meet you. My hands trembled. For years I had felt like we were alone. Now suddenly we were not. The next day I met Rebecca at the police station. She was older than Evelyn, younger than Clara. Her eyes looked tired. When she saw me, she smiled sadly. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" I asked. "For speaking first," she said. "If you had not spoken, I never would have had the courage." Her words hit me deeply. I realized something powerful. Silence protects abusers. But truth gives victims a voice. Days later, the police began a formal investigation. Pastor Cole stopped appearing in public. The church board announced they were reviewing his conduct. The town was divided. Some people defended him fiercely. Some people began to doubt him. One evening, I was walking home when a car slowed down beside me. My heart jumped. The window rolled down. It was Pastor Cole. He looked tired, older, different. "Lillian," he said quietly. I stopped walking. "What do you want?" I asked. He sighed. "You have gone too far," he said. I looked at him. "You went too far first," I replied. He stared at me. "Do you know what you have done?" he asked. "Yes," I said. I told the truth. For a moment, he looked at me like he wanted to say something else. Then he shook his head. "You think you have won," he said. "Maybe not," I replied. "But I am not afraid anymore." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he drove away. I stood there, my heart racing. For the first time I felt something strange. Felt free. But deep inside, I knew the story was not over yet. Because truth has consequences. And some consequences were about to change my life forever. 70 years later, I am sitting by the window of my small white house in Cedar Ridge, a quiet retirement town far from Willow Creek. My hands are old now. My hair is silver. My voice is softer. But my memories are sharp. People who meet me today see only a gentle grandmother who feeds birds every morning and smiles at children walking to school. They do not know that my life was shaped by one Friday night when I was 23 years old. They do not know how close I came to losing my faith, my voice, and my future. And they do not know how everything ended. After Rebecca came forward, more women began to speak. Not loudly, not proudly, but quietly, one by one. Some were from our church. Some were from neighboring towns. Some had moved away years ago but returned when they heard the story. They all said the same thing. He made them feel chosen. He made them feel afraid. He made them feel silent. The investigation took months. Pastor Cole denied everything. The church board tried to protect him at first. Some members left the church. Others stayed and prayed that nothing would change. But truth is like water. No matter how hard you try to hold it back, it always finds a way to flow. One morning I received a call from the police. "Lillian," the officer said, "we found something." "What?" I asked. "Records," he replied. "Old complaints from another state. Years before he came to Willow Creek." My heart stopped. He had done this before, the officer said. In another town. Under another church. Under another name. When the news reached Willow Creek, the town froze. People who once defended him went silent. People who once doubted us began to apologize. The church board suspended him. The investigation turned into a case. The case turned into a trial. I sat in the courtroom beside Clara, Evelyn, and Rebecca. Our hands were trembling. Pastor Cole sat on the other side. He did not look powerful anymore. He looked small. For the first time I saw fear in his eyes. When the judge asked if anyone wanted to speak, my heart pounded. I stood up slowly. I walked forward. I looked at him. "When I was 23, I said, I walked into a church believing I was chosen by God. I walked out believing I was broken forever." My voice shook, but I continued. "You did not destroy my life," I said. "But you changed it." I looked at the judge. And then I said something I had never said before. But silence would have destroyed it completely. The courtroom was quiet. Pastor Cole lowered his head. He was not sentenced like a villain in movies. There was no dramatic punishment. There was no perfect justice. But he was removed from the church. His reputation was broken. His power was gone. And most importantly, his secret was gone. Years passed. Willow Creek changed. The church changed. Some people never forgave us. Some people thanked us quietly. Clara moved to another town and opened a small bookstore. Evelyn became a counselor who helped young women find their voices. Rebecca started a support group for women who had been silenced. And me. I built a quiet life. I married a kind man who never tried to control my faith. I raised children who learned that respect is stronger than authority. I grew old knowing that fear does not have the final word. Sometimes people ask me if I regret speaking out. I always smile. Because the truth is simple. I did not win by destroying anyone. I won by refusing to be destroyed. And Pastor Cole. I heard he now lives far away. No church. No pulpit. No crowd. Just a man who once thought he was untouchable. Sometimes I wonder if he remembers that Friday night. Sometimes I wonder if he remembers the girl who walked into the church in faith and walked out with her eyes open. But I do not wonder for long. Because my life is no longer shaped by his shadow. It is shaped by my courage. And if there is one thing I learned in 78 years of living, it is this. Evil survives in silence. But truth survives forever. If this story touched your heart, please like this video so more people can hear it. Subscribe to this channel for more emotional and powerful stories like this. Turn on the notification button so you never miss the next chapter. And tell me in the comments which part of the country you are watching from. Your voice matters more than you think.